Lito, you start.
Lito first. Okay.
Sian, what is your prediction? Will the Pope Francis crowd in the Philippine visit be bigger than the 1995 crowd
that's
during the World Youth Day celebration in Manila with Pope John Paul II?
That's one of the big questions, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah.
And we need to remind people that that crowd was 5 million. And that's in the Guinness Book of Records as the biggest crowd ever around a single individual in the history of the world.
Yes.
Getting more than 5 million people in one place and one time, I wonder. There was a reason for that too, remember, Lito. Huh? And that was that Luneta Park was where the World Youth Day celebration had taken place. So many of the young people stayed overnight there.
Yes, they camped.
They camped out overnight. And some of the masses had been cancelled in Manila. So people, if they wanted to go to mass, they had to go to the park. So there was a reason why there were so many people. I don't think it's about numbers, actually. It's about quality, not quantity, isn't it? It's about participation. It's about listening to the message, about taking that message to heart, and then living that message. And I think that's what's important. Not how many people were there, but will they be listening? Will they be listening? Will they take his message to heart? Will they put his message into practice? And it's a message of mercy and compassion, which heaven only knows we really need today more than ever before.
Give us some of your memories of that penultimate day in 1995.
1995, I just remember it as being the whole thing as being crazy, just crowds and excitement. I remember staying in the Manila hotel and watching that event from the roof and looking down on this crowd and thinking it looked like a Persian carpet with all the colors of the people. I remember the people listening to their radios. And of course, as a man who works in radio, that was very significant for me because the role of radio, how important it was. People with the radios on their shoulders following the Pope's Mass and listening to him on the radio. And then, of course, the great story of the helicopter.
Yeah, can you tell that?
It's a wonderful story, and many people don't know that. Is that the Pope was meant to go on the Pope-mobile through the crowd in Luneta Park from the nunciature to the podium. And he woke up, and the papal entourage woke up that morning, and it was impossible because no one could get through. And the president, Fidel Ramos, at the time, made his helicopter available to the Pope. So the helicopter had to fly from the roof of Malacanang to the roof of the nunciature, and then fly across the park and land in an impossible space, just a bit bigger than a postage stamp, between the podium and Manila Bay. And it had never been done before. And so they asked the papal entourage to go first. And they said, well, if the helicopter doesn't crash, then it can come back and pick up the Pope. Then it's okay. And of course it was okay. But I don't think it's ever been done again either. This flight right across the park, landing between the trees and the bay. It was very exciting.
From here in Rome, can you feel the excitement from the Philippines? The enthusiasm, you know, people are very, very happy.
You're asking the wrong person because I'm half Filipino, you see. My heart is Filipino. I love the Philippines. I've been there twice in the past year, and one of my best friends is Chito Tagle. So you're asking, I feel the enthusiasm. I remember even before we knew the Pope was going, when I was there a year ago, they were hoping the Pope would come in 2016 for the Eucharistic Congress in Cebu. And there was already excitement at the idea that he might come in 2016. So when people understood he was coming now, I mean, I know. And we Filipinos are very excitable people, aren't we? It doesn't take a lot to get us excited about things. So it's very beautiful. And we're all looking forward to it hugely.
Pope John Paul was really focused on the youth, and Pope Francis is known as the Pope of the poor. Now that he's coming in the Philippines, and his focus really on the Tacloban area.
Yes.
So, any expectations?
But you know how that happened too, Carla, don't you? After Yolanda, we had a special mass here in the Vatican, in St. Peter's, with the Filipino community here, and Cardinal Tagle was here. They presented a mosaic to the Pope and so forth. And Pope Francis came downstairs, and he had no prepared speech. He just stood there, and again, it's a sign of, he speaks from the heart. This is one of the reasons why people love him so much, because he really speaks with the heart and from the heart. And he stood there, and there were people crying because some had relatives and in Tacloban and Palo, and they felt this very strongly. And he stood there, and all he said was, we must ask God why. He didn't say, these things happen, we must accept it, God loves us, smile, keep smiling. He said we have a right, just like a child. When a child doesn't understand the parent, the child has the right to say, Daddy, why? And we can ask God, why? Why do you allow these to happen? I was crying because it was so powerful. And I think it was there that he got the feeling that he needed to be there. He needed to go there, he needed to experience, to see for himself. And that was when the decision was taken that he would go to Tacloban, he would go to Palo, and he would see, he would be close to the people. He would experience together with them. He would show them that mercy and compassion, which is the theme of the visit.
You're going back, right? You're going to be there in Manila also.
Oh yes, I wouldn't miss this for anything, Pia.
Of course, you're happy to
I would swim from here to if they didn't.
But you're not flying with us. You're not going to be in the people flight. You're going to be going ahead.
I'm going ahead of time because there will be lots of people on the people flight, including yourselves. But I think there are stories that need to be told ahead of time. You have to set the scene for people. You see, we're speaking from the inside out. We know where the Pope is going. We know what he's going to see. But the people down there in the street and out there, they have no idea. You speak to some of your journalist colleagues. Where is the Philippines? Somebody said to me, oh, their idea of the Philippines is what they see on tourist brochures. So it's pretty beaches and shells and happy people and jeepneys. That's the Philippines. And you tell them, do you know there are 7,500 islands in the Philippines? And they say, no, that's impossible. You tell them, do you know that it goes from north to south, and the differences in the cultures and the foods and the languages and the styles? And do you know that you have some of the richest people in Asia who live in the Philippines? And some of the poorest people in Asia who live in the Philippines. So these are stories that need to be told. Not everybody knows this, and so it's important to go ahead of time and to prepare the ground and to say, this is the context, this is what he's coming to. Now let's hear what he has to say about it.
How friendly is the Pope with the press? How have you been dealing with that?
He's very media friendly, as you know. He always thanks the media. When he became Pope, one of the very first things he did was he held a special audience for the media that had covered his election. And if you go back and you look at that speech or you look at that video, it's beautiful because it's in the Paul VI audience hall, and he sits up there and he starts to giggle. Really? And he looks across at all these thousands of journalists and he says, you've been working hard, huh? So he knows how hard we work. He understands the challenges of trying to keep up with him, and I know he appreciates it. And one of the signs that he appreciates it is that press conference that he gives on the plane. He will likely give a press conference too, one from Colombo to Manila and one from Manila to Rome. And that's a wonderful opportunity to ask all the questions that need to be asked. And he's so sincere. He doesn't prepare. He really tells you what he feels and what he thinks. And so those press conferences are very useful because they give us an insight. It's not the official speech. It's what he's really thinking and really feeling at that moment. And so it's a very precious moment to get inside his head and his heart. And I know he uses those moments because he understands those messages need to be gotten out. So where are the hard questions? No, I'm waiting for the hard questions. I'm waiting for the hard questions.
What hard questions?
Where are the hard questions?
What about mathematics?
Sir?
Oh, you want chemistry?
I want where are the tough questions? The ones where are the where's the conflict? Where's the conflict? Where's the
Will the Pope answer the what?
Will the Pope answer hard questions?
But then again,
he never refuses to answer a question.
Oh, yeah.
He's never refused to answer a question.
But the theme of the papal visit of Pope is mercy and compassion.
Yes.
Filipinos are already compassionate in nature.
Yes.
So what do you think the Pope might expect from us? Does he have any idea how huge the numbers of the Filipino will gonna welcome him and embrace him?
It's a good question, Carla. I wonder. He has been prepared. He knows Cardinal Tagle very well. They get along very, very well, as you know. Cardinal Tagle is on various papal commissions and so forth. And so I'm sure that he's had the opportunity to brief the Pope as much as possible. I can tell you a little secret, okay? You're not allowed to tell many people, so shh, okay? I was in South Korea, in Seoul, yes, and the organization was perfect. It was in perfect South Korean style. And at the Mass for the Martyrs, there were nearly 1 million people there, everybody in silence, in prayer, totally self-controlled, beautiful.
Wow.
Cardinal Tagle was sitting next to me, and he turns to me and he goes, "It's not going to be like this in Manila."
Exactly.
It's not going to be like this.
Does the Pope prepare for that?
And I don't know. I don't know if he's prepared for that. That's the point. I don't think. Are we prepared for that? Do we even know what kind of outpouring there's going? I think it's going to be something
It's going to
fantastic.
be more than JPT. The JPT.
That's truly, Pierre, that's my feeling. My gut feeling is that.
And knowing Pope Francis, he approached people. He doesn't wait for the people to approach him.
Right.
So it's going to approach the people, I mean, one way or another.
Yes.
So that's going to be I don't know if chaos is...
And we're in the age, remember that we are in the age of social media as well. 1995,
Yes.
no Facebook, no cell phones, no selfies, no Twitter, no nothing. You were listening, you were following the Mass on the radio. In the age of social media, I mean, we can't predict. I really, it's going to be a surprise, I think, for all of us.
I think it's going to shut down Twitter for a while. Overcapacity.
Overcapacity. There you go. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this for us. We appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in Manila.
Yeah.